Good morning, everyone. June 1st every year marks the start of the Atlantic hurricane season. It is therefore an opportune time on this, the fourth day of June, to discuss disaster preparedness during our post-cabinet press briefing. I am Press Secretary to the Prime Minister, Philomena Robertson. Welcome to this week's briefing. Thank you to the viewers and listeners who have joined us. Special thanks to the members of the media who are present in the room with us today, and who will assist in creating more awareness among members of the public as it relates to disaster preparedness, disaster management. This morning, I have with me the Minister responsible for disaster management and for information, Senator Winston Garraway, and the Acting Commissioner of Police, Mr. Edwin Martin. Welcome, gentlemen. It may not be immediately obvious to all how disaster management and national security are related. But through this press briefing this morning, I'm sure you'll gain a better understanding of the correlation between the two. Our disaster planning here in Grenada, our general preparedness to deal with any kind of hazard impact, and it's not just about hurricanes, remember that, as well as the steps being taken to build resilience across Grenada, Carriacou, and P.T. Martinique. Gentlemen, welcome again, and I will ask Senator Garraway to lead off with his opening statement.
Thank you very much, Philomena, and good morning to the members of the media and those who are viewing and listening to this program. As you rightly said, Philomena, June 1st every year is the start of the Atlantic hurricane season. And this year, by no exception, we are at this point in time within a season that is considered to be just about normal, with some 13 named storms, 4 or 5 of which is likely to develop into hurricane and 2 into a major hurricane. And as we have been saying consistently from NADMA, that is, it only takes one to let you have a bad season. So the watchword is preparedness, making the necessary preparation. And as an agency, we have been doing this. But it is mindful for us to just to look back at 2018. And as a nation, we ought to say that we were grateful that we were not directly impacted by any of those systems. However, we will not forget August 1st, 2018, when there was not even a storm forecast, just a simple tropical wave. And we had within 10 hours over 8 inches of rain falling on our shores. And we saw the destruction it caused. Over 104 slides in St. David's alone. 2 areas of the country was this declared disaster zone, St. George's and St. David's, with over $10 million worth of damage or destruction. Brothers and sisters, this season, we ought to be aware that we can experience the same thing as we have had last year. The good thing about it, I believe this time around, we are more aware and we are more prepared in that the experience of August 1st rain last year taught us a lesson. And the lesson that is very important for us all as a people, that our practices, cultural practices, agricultural practices, just the way we interact with the environment all impact upon us at one point in time, negatively or positively. In this regard, August 1st, it was a negative impact because we have seen a lot of the waterways were blocked. And as a result of this, there was not a free flow of water and it caused massive flooding in areas. What we're calling on our people at this point in time is to remember that if our waterways are blocked, it becomes, those obstructions can result into the loss of properties and even the loss of lives. So at this point in time as an agency, we're asking our people to look around the homes, around the properties, and to ensure that your waterways are cleared. If you have broken gutters on your homes, it's time to fix them. If there are trees that is, in your estimation, could become a hazard, you need to look at it. We have our team at NADMA who can give you advice as it relates to how you can treat with your surroundings. And of course, GrenLink has often asks people, if the tree is close to the power lines, you need to call them. So we're asking you to do this. But it's important for us to look at what we have done for this season. from the agency, we have conducted a number of training in DANA, damage, need, and assessment. That is critical as it relates to helping us to, one, be able to do the initial report as to the cost of damages. And that report inform the support we will get from international donors and agencies. So we have been able to do this, and we are extremely grateful to the USAID for their support in this regard. Also, the government took its team out, and as you have seen around the country, environmental wardens being deployed in several areas. One, to do the trimming of the overhangings, to clear the drains, and to ensure that we are prepared for whatever eventuality. Well, the agency continues to do its work as it relates to emergency shelters. The team of inspectors would have gone out. Unfortunately, we have not yet received the current list for this year. The last year's list, we had 111 shelters, approved shelters. This year, we believe it's going to be a little more because we had support from the Canada Caribbean Disaster Risk Management Fund, in that they provided resources to us for the upgrade of shelters to accommodate persons with disabilities. And some 14 shelters were upgraded. And I'm extremely, extremely pleased and thankful to the team from the Canada Caribbean Disaster Risk Management Fund. While I'm on this, I should say that last week, while we were at the Understanding Risk Conference in Barbados, in a bilateral I had with the team from Canada, we have agreed to officially close the shelters, or hand over the shelters to us on the 9th and 10th of July. The 9th will be for Carriacou and the 10th for the mainland. We will have the High Commissioner from Canada on island to be a part of this handing over ceremony. We are extremely happy, and we're looking forward for further engagement because, as I said, last year we had 111 approved shelters. We were only able to upgrade 14 to accommodate persons with disability. It is critical to note that the centers that were upgraded in this rung of upgrade, the areas had the largest concentration of persons with disabilities. That's what informed the shelters that were upgraded at this point in time. But as I said, 111 and only 14, we need much more. So we're looking forward at this closing ceremony to make the pitch for further assistance in this regard. The shelter team, as I said, has been moving around, and they have done the work. They are now finalizing the report, and I expect to have it for next Tuesday, so we'll be able to present it in the upcoming week. But I also want to make mention of another project which we had funding from CDEMA, and the project was implemented by NAWASA, in that we had some 17 schools were upgraded with additional water storage facilities. 17 schools were 18 1,000-gallon tanks. One school, the Happy Hill Secondary, had 2 tanks being installed, again because of the size of the school and the problem that they have with water storage. We are extremely happy with this, and I'm pleased to announce last week at the Understanding Risk Conference in Barbados, which was sponsored by the World Bank, the European Union, and CDEMA, the European Union pledged another 14 million euros for the region for disaster risk-related projects. 7 million of the 14 is dedicated to CDEMA, our partner. And as I said, CDEMA is the one who would have funded the water upgrade project with NAWASA. So $7 million, 7 million euros, sorry, it's a lot of money. There will be a call for proposal later this year. I want to say that we have 3 proposals inside already, and they have been approved for additional projects. So I'm looking forward to Grenada continuing on the pathway of being the country that had the largest uptake in terms of projects from CDEMA. As you know, we We understand what is required in terms of providing support for our vulnerable populations, and we've been able to write projects towards addressing that, and they have been approved. So we're looking forward to continued support in this regard. Also, we had discussions as it relates to a new system of communication during times of disaster. We are working with our funders to that regard. And I also had discussions not too long ago as it relates to an early warning system that will interface with the population. They will have information platform where they can share information with us, that is NADMA, the government, and we can vice versa share information with them. But the intention here, this early warning system, is to be able to alert our residents as to any impending danger. And the last thing I want to raise this morning is that, as you remember, last year, around the middle of the year, we had St. Patrick's being declared the first tsunami-certified parish in the country. It has been my desire to ensure that they have the entire country tsunami certified. And I was hoping that St. George's would be the second parish. Just a few weeks ago, we got indication that funds are available through, again, USAID and NOAA for another parish to be certified. And we are looking at Carriacou. Work has started as it relates to certifying Carriacou as tsunami ready. The team is on the ground. The expert to do the inundation map has been contracted, and generally we have started the process. So we're looking by the end of this year, with all the processing that has to be followed, to have Carriacou and Peter Martinique tsunami certified. I think it's exciting news for the people of Carriacou and Peter Martinique, and exciting news for Grenada. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Garwe. Disaster management, disaster planning, a work in progress. And from what was outlined there by Senator Garwe, you would see that government is in fact committed to this and to building resilience among the population. I now invite Acting Commissioner, Mr. Edwin Martin, to similarly present an opening statement. Tell us from the RGPF's perspective, Commissioner, what's happening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson, for your introduction, and Senator Garwe, Minister with responsibility for disaster preparedness, members of the media, good morning. Certainly, as indicated by Ms. Robinson, I would be looking at providing you with a brief overview of the RGPF preparation for hazards in general, and specific in this occasion for weather systems hurricane. So we're going to look at the preparation, RGPF preparation, and concept of operation if we are to be impacted by any natural hazard. I want to assure you, though, and members of the public, that we are prepared to the extent of our capabilities to ensure that we maintain the safety and security of the Tri-Island state should we be impacted by any form of natural hazard. To date, and specific to the hurricane season, in terms of our preparation, I'll first give you an idea as to what has been done. First and foremost, we have already completed our fourth state of readiness inspection. This has to do with an inspection of our equipment readiness, as well as procedural knowledge from our commanders and subordinate ranks. We have also conducted a tabletop exercise, which I believe was covered by the media to some extent. And in that tabletop exercise, we drilled down 2 levels below commanders to ensure that we have redundancy within our command structure, should in case any one of them happen to be affected in one way or the other. Next in line will be our simulation exercise, which will be done during the week of June 7th. And this simulation exercise is geared towards testing our command and control, our mobilization capacity, as well as the specific response to incidents peculiar to natural hazards. The RGPF Natural Hazards Plan is built firmly on 4 pillars. First of which is a comprehensive command and control mechanism, which I must say is deeply integrated with NADMA. NADMA is the lead, and RGPF operates a security committee within the NADMA framework. So we are integrated with NADMA in all that we do. The second pillar is to ensure that we have a complete mobilization of all resources to the RGPF. This is human as well as mechanical resources. Once NADMA declares a hurricane warning to the Tri-Island state, that will be initiated. Thirdly, is to ensure the strategic pre-deployment, and pre is the important point here, the pre-deployment of 40% of our force with a view to ensure that we prevent incidents from occurring, that we support NADMA overall intention in managing natural hazards, as well as to ensure a continuity of operations in the aftermath of impact. The fourth pillar has to do with stakeholder collaboration. And there are 3 elements to stakeholder collaboration. We seek to first establish forward deployments, which I will explain shortly, as well as the establishment of safe houses. We also seek stakeholder collaboration with persons who own heavy equipment to assist us with clearing roads that are critical to security, redeployment of personnel, as well as access to hospitals and other critical institutions. So the elements of our plan that you need to know to have an idea whether or not we are well prepared. The elements of our plan include, first of all, the establishment of safe houses for police stations we considered to be vulnerable. And these safe houses now act as alternative stations should in case the primary station is compromised. We do this in collaboration with our stakeholders, business communities, etc., who volunteer places. If a system is approaching us, the safe house is activated and have the capacity to continue police operations seamlessly at that point in time. We also have the forward deployment locations, and forward deployment are normally locations where we consider to have critical infrastructure as well as areas that we consider to be of high security risk for looting and other events. What we do here, we deploy hybrid security teams, and by this I mean teams that constitute SSU, CID, and regular police, so they have the capacity to respond and deal with any particular threat that might happen prior to or in the aftermath of any system. These forward deployment units are established in collaboration with business entities who gives up space in the establishment for officers to be there. And these officers occupy those locations well before the blow. The forward deployment locations and the teams that we place, they do have the capacity to stand alone for at least 24 hours, should in case in the immediate aftermath of a weather system, we may not have the ability to reach them immediately. The next element in our plan is the security of towns. In this strategy, there is a clear approach for us to ensure that checkpoints are established on all routes leading into our main towns, and as well as static locations within the town. And the intention here is to prevent our towns from being flooded with individuals in the aftermath where businesses may be compromised, to ensure that the security integrity of businesses and places are well protected. Additionally, from within, we have static locations deployed to make sure that security problems do not erupt from within the towns themselves. So those 2 elements take place, and that happens together with the said forward deployment locations. Because in the aftermath, we cannot drive, probably not, from a police station to a forward deployment location. So we set up forward deployment locations at areas where we need to set those checkpoints and deploy those persons before the approach of a system. The other element, of course, is the enforcement of curfew, if it happens to be declared by the Minister of National Security. And also, we look to provide security at shelters in support of NADMA's overall intention. And as indicated earlier, another critical element is the partnership that we establish with heavy equipment persons to be embedded with us overnight. for if a system is approaching, so immediately thereafter, those persons can use those heavy equipment to clear routes to hospitals and allow quickly for the redeployment of resources of police forces and security units to areas that may need critical assistance. So in a nutshell, that basically encapsulates what the overall strategic plan is. And I believe that if all of these issues work together collaboratively with the NADMA's intention and we get public cooperation, we should be able to withstand any particular impact of a weather system or even any natural hazard that may occur at any point in time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. It was certainly good to hear about the forward deployment units. Having had the BVI experience in 2017, and the to witness the the level of looting that occurred immediately after when businesses were compromised, it is good to know that we have that sort of thinking in place and plans are being made, as well as all of the entirety of the plan for dealing with any hazard impact here in Grenada. Well, ladies and gentlemen of the media, you would have heard the opening statements. The floor is now open to questions. Please, as per usual, identify yourself and your media house before you ask your question.
Good morning, Callistra Farrier, Business Files. Senator, we're 4 days into the hurricane season and the inspectors are just looking at shelters. Is that is that schedule normal? And if that's not a normal schedule, could you tell me why it is happening when we've already started the season?
No, they are not currently looking at shelters. They have already completed the inspection of the shelters, so they're finalizing the report. Yes, we had some delays. The team started the inspection in February, and my deadline was the 15th of May to have the report completed. They had some delays along the way, and that would have caused them to go into probably a week into the season. But that being said, we have shelters available. As I said, we have had 111 shelters approved from last year. What we do every year is an inspection of all the shelters to ensure that they have not been compromised, the integrity or the structure is not compromised, or just name it, just to give us the peace of mind to ascertain that those shelters are up and ready for use. So we have shelters. If there is a need now to activate any shelter, we have shelters available.
So even without the inspection and without a list, we are sure that they are in the same condition that they were in when they received approval last year?
The shelters were inspected already.
Okay, they're inspected, but you don't have that report.
So the shelters have been inspected, so I'm expecting the report by end of this week to say if we have more. I'm expecting to have more. As I said, given that we would have done some upgrade on some of the shelters, we should have more than the 111 we had last year. But these shelters have been inspected already.
So these inspectors, their work does not involve checking for safety and that kind of thing to make sure that they are does the inspection involve checking to make sure that the conditions of the shelter is fit to be a shelter? Is that part of what they are looking at?
Let me tell you, the inspection team, yes. The inspection team, you have an engineer, you have a fire chief, you have somebody from social development, you have someone from the chief of the team who is also a builder, contractor in that sense. So you have a team of persons from various fields with the competencies to ascertain that buildings are safe to accommodate persons should the need arise for a shelter to be activated.
Could you tell us what was the delay in inspecting the shelters and approving them ready?
I think it boils down to quite a lot is happening in this government. Quite a lot is happening. And you have a limited amount of engineers to get the work done. That is pure and simple. We had challenges with having engineers at all time at the inspection. So as I said, as you would realize, there is a boom in terms of construction and other activities, infrastructure development in the country. And it's the same set of engineers who have to qualify, do all the work. That's the reason, really.
So, if I'm understanding you correctly, the inspection of shelters was delayed because of a limited number of engineers whose time was also spent on construction projects, which lives, the saving of lives and the protection of lives, do not depend on.
I don't understand the question, but if I am to answer you as I think as a rational being, in that every occupation is important in this country. Every work that is asked of our engineers is extremely important. And let's put it this way. If we were careless, we could have provided a list of shelters without the final inspection of the engineers. And we said no. That is not the way we do business. We want to ensure that every shelter is a safe home. So if you are to move from your dwelling because you think it might be compromised, you ought to be going into a new building that has been checked out to be safe. And who will give us that? The engineers. And it's unfortunate, if you want to put it this way, that so much work is happening in the country at the same time within the government that the few engineers we have on staff were not available at all times to do the shelters. But as I've said to the nation, the inspection has been completed, and we will have the report at the end of this week. Today is the 4th of June, and by Tuesday, Wednesday, we will be able to say these are the shelters.
Sherry and Noel, GIS. I have a couple questions for Commissioner. I just want a little extra information when you made the statement that the RGPF is prepared to the extent of the capabilities.
Okay, well, the statement simply means that all individuals, all organizations, I believe Mr. Gary just alluded to some limitations. So, of course, the RGPF is prepared to the extent of its capabilities with respect to resources, with respect to manpower, with respect to vehicles, with respect to generators, with respect to tanks for stations, with respect to the integrity of the police stations themselves, etc. So, given the extent of the resources available to us, we have put a plan in place that we have absolute confidence in that it will be able to deliver the security requirements. And
part two, you mentioned about the safe houses that would be used as police stations. Are you in a position to say how many you're looking at, and are they strategically the safe houses for the police station, should in case the present ones get compromised? How many are there, and are they strategically areas located around the country?
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely located all around the country. And what we do is carry out an inspection of all of our police stations. And the assessment is made basically on a Category 3 system. If a station does not have the capacity to withstand a Category 3 system, then that station is a potentially compromised station. And once that station is so determined, then we seek or try to identify possible safe houses within that community, within close enough proximity, that we can establish a safe house. And the safe house, basically, as I said, it is an alternate station. So before the blow, we set it up with all the resources. Personnel are moved in there, a percentage of personnel, so that if the primary becomes compromised, we move straight to the safe house, that the operations of the police is continuous.
And one of the critical areas you mentioned is the collaborative efforts with the private citizens that have the heavy equipment. Have you already finalized with them and they're already on board, or that dialogue is still ongoing?
We have 2 persons on board at the moment. We need a minimum of 4. And what we try to do is to have a commitment that they will remain with us. So we do need some assistance there. In some areas, of the two, one is a bobcat, and I don't know if the bobcat would be able to do all the push work that will be required. So we're trying to work through with the Ministry of Works that they may leverage their relationships to provide us with front-end loaders, because they have collaboration with persons in all of the districts. So when we collaborate with them, what happens in St. George's happens on the west, happens in Carriacou, happens on the east as well. So that's what we're trying to do. I need to say, as we're looking at hazards naturally, the same concept apply for fires. We have partnerships, given the limitations and understanding the constraints of a fire truck having to go and reload. We have established relationships as well with private water tank operators, so that when a fire truck goes on location, does not have to move. We can leverage those relationships that the water tanks come and bring the water to the truck so that it can just continue pumping. And we have extended that to involve SGU helps us a lot with that, as well as other persons that has water tanks as well, water trucks that they can deliver to the fire truck. So the whole issues in comprehensive disaster management, stakeholder collaboration is critical in bridging any shortcomings or deficiencies we may have. I thought I'd just put that point in.
Then let me just kind of extend on this. Within the NADMA structure, we have the National Emergency Advisory Council, and that council incorporates over 17 stakeholder groups. The RGPF is prominent in that. So you have the private sector, you have utility companies and the likes and so forth. So in the event that we have to brace ourselves for an impact, all those stakeholder groups will work together with NADMA. So you're talking about deployment of front-end loaders and the likes and so forth. That's within the group. We will have the sort of support. And I want to take this opportunity to commend the members of this committee, for the NEA committee, for their commitment over the year in terms of working with us to ensure that Grenada remains safe. The people of Grenada remain safe. And I can proudly boast and say I think we have about the best committee. As a matter of fact, CIDIMA has been always commending us. We have minimum of 11 meetings per year. Other of the 18 stakeholder countries of CIDIMA, some of them may have 1 or 2 per year. So in terms of working as a cohesive unit in Grenada, we have been commended. And I wanted to say a special thank you to the RGPF for staying there and keeping us, probably to say, on our toes. Yeah.
Minister, I just want to go back a bit to the statement you made where you said a 14 million pledge by the European Union for the region, and you also went on to state that 7 million to CIDIMA, and there will be a call for proposals. You also mentioned that Grenada already had 3 proposals in that were, I think, approved. Can you, in a position to share those?
Yeah, so we have a National Voluntary Service proposal inside. Our aim is to train all those who want to be trained in terms of responding in the event of disasters and the likes. So we have that proposal inside, and we're looking to do that. We have a CERT program, project that is a community emergency response training. And what will happen with that? We want to train the trainers, training of the trainers with that project, so that at least we will have more certified persons here who will then be able to be deployed around the country and train other persons. And the last one we had is an upgrade of some of our EOCs, Emergency Operation Centers, where we have some generators that was not covered or protected, and we got some support to do that. Of course, we will want to improve and increase those proposals, because, as I've said, we have from last year 111 shelters, but we were only able to upgrade in terms of capabilities for disabled person 14. In terms of water storage, overall we had 22 shelters. So we want to ensure that we could expand on that relationship we've had for NAWASA to do some more water storage at some of our shelters. So those are things that we're looking at, but I'm going to tell you, we're going to be aggressive as usual.
Okay, Minister, good morning, as well as Acting Commissioner Christelina John, GBN. My question is, can you really specify as to the Sister Isle of Carriacou and PT Martinique what has been done in terms of preparation for the season ahead, and as well, I'm lost for my thought. My thread of thought was lost. So could you reply to this, please?
Okay. I must indeed say that I'm extremely happy with the work that has been done in Carriacou. We have a very active and responsive team. Early this year, or just about 2 months ago, we had a training session for Carriacou on the responders and community activists and so forth in basic disaster response, first aid, and a number of areas. And I must say that that country continues to be very active. If you look at the newspaper every week, they have something in the newspaper speaking to emergency operations, disaster response, and the case may be. So Carriacou is one area that I'm very proud of in terms of Ms. Dayton and her team working collaboratively with the head office to ensure that people on the Sister Isle, they are informed and they know exactly what they need to do in terms of responding in the event of emergency. We also had the Dover Government School upgraded as one of those shelters to accommodate persons with disability. And again, I was extremely pleased because I have been saying everything we do on mainland, we must replicate it on the Sister Isle. And we've been getting support in this regard, and I look forward to continuing to work with our people from Carriacou and PT Martinique.
Senator, could you tell me, the Dover is one of the ones upgraded for persons with disability. Could you give us a list of the other areas where those shelters are placed?
Off my head, I may not be able to give you all of them, but I could tell you the Bethel Church in St. Paul's. We have the multipurpose prototype shelter in Marion. We have the St. Andrew's Anglican Secondary School. They had the largest tranche in terms of upgrade. We have the St. John's Christian Secondary School, the Dover. I reached 5. I can't go more.
We can work on that list and provide it.
Okay, Minister, the other part of my question just flowed. In terms of communication, really say during a disaster or any kind of hazard that we should experience, have you tested our communication level lately?
Yes, we have been doing that. Usually we have what we call a region wrap within NADMA structure where we'll be able to talk with our counterparts throughout the region, seeing what we're doing. We also is in talks with NTRC because they are providing for us a new communication system, not only NADMA, but the entire country. So the RGPF is a major stakeholder in this regard. And that is to provide emergency communication during times of a disaster. It's a hybrid system, and we've been clamoring for that because a hybrid system will incorporate the normal or the regular VHS system as well as a net-based system, a light network. So I normally put it in peacetime when there is no disaster or anything like that, your internet-based system will work fine. But in sometimes during the wartime or an impact, some of your towers may be down or you may have to pull down your antennas and so forth to withstand or for the passage of the system. During that time, you will have to communicate. So the VHS will be able to do that for you. And I'm extremely happy that we are moving in this direction because communication is extremely important. The other thing that we're doing and going to happen would be within the season. We've been able to get funding from CDMA to do a training of all media persons as it relates to disaster communication. And we're looking forward to this because, again, we have to build partnerships. You see, it's important for us to communicate correctly during, prior to, during, and after any impact. And oftentimes, what we say creates more impact and more panic to our people than the actual event itself. So seeing and knowing this has been a challenge for us, we have been able to get that support to have that sort of training for media personnel. Last week, I know there was a I was told, very successful meeting of the Public Education and Information Committee within the NEAC structure, where we had some persons from the radio stations and TV stations being a part of that meeting. That was extremely important because what we have seen before, the Hurricane Center may put out a bulletin. The bulletin is general. It doesn't speak specific to our location, but some persons will go take it and just spread it around and create unnecessary panic. Knowing how the structure works, Trinidad is the focal point for Grenada. So information will be submitted to Trinidad, who will contextualize it for the geographic space. They will then send the information to the Met Office, who is our competent authority. They will have to contextualize it towards Grenada itself and then disseminate that. But some people, for some reason, do not want to wait and will send information out and create unnecessary panic. But I must indeed say, with the move that we're making now to have this training and so forth, and from the reaction I'm seeing, I'm happy that we're moving in the right direction.
Gerald Joseph, GBN. Question for Minister. You have highlighted on the early warning systems. And after we would have highlighted on preparedness for disasters for the hurricane season. How would this early warning system actually work in the face of natural disasters such as tsunamis, hurricanes, etc.?
Let me put this all together. As it is right now, we are a partner to the Pacific early warning system. So in the event of approaching tsunami, they will disseminate information to our focal point, tsunami focal point in Grenada, which is the Met Office. And Met Office then will disseminate it to NADMA and we get the information out. So we have that in place at this point in time. What we are moving towards is a new system of development. Given that over 70,000 persons have mobile cell phones, we think this would be a good way of communicating to our nation as it relates to the approaching of a storm, a tsunami, as the case may be. So that's where we're moving towards, to ensure that our people will have on-time and real-time information so they can make informed decision on quality information. Part of the system will be a reaction where on that platform they will be able to communicate with us. They may see something that they think should be highlighted, they will communicate that, we will respond. So there will be a feedback section on the platform. But that is in the making to happen, and I'm looking forward to it being launched.
Okay, my follow-up question, how soon?
Oh, this is, I will say within 6 months we will be looking at that, yeah, to follow up with that.
Is there a cost to this?
Of course there is a cost, but it's grant funds. Of course there is a cost. Grant funds. The final figure I do not have yet, but it's grant funds through the World Bank. And the earlier communication system I spoke of will be through NTRC again, There's a USF system within the NTRC operations, which is grant funds again. I must say here, with the conference that we just attended in Barbados, the Understanding Risk Conference, and listening to the presentation from the international partners, they agree with us that small island developing states contribute, our contribution of greenhouse gases is minimal. But when coming to impact, we get the most of the impact. And they agree that much more has to be done to help small island developing states to become resilient. So in terms of support, we're receiving support, it's because they agree to that. It so happened that Grenada is getting a good chunk of it. Because in that conference, on several occasions, it's been said to the rest of the region that Grenada is leading in those areas. In terms of disaster response and so forth, we have been. In terms of economic development, we have been. And I want to say it's an effort, a collaborative effort between, yes, the government and the people of this country. We have agreed in 2013 that if we have to move this economy forward, we must work together. And the social partners came on board and supported the government effort. And today we are seen as a shining light in the region, and we're getting support. So we have to continue to stay the course. And of course, as Minister of NADMA, or Disaster Management, I will do all within my power to ensure that we continue to do what we have been doing in the past 6 years.
We've spoken a lot about the police preparedness, NADMA, and so on. I haven't heard anything, and I'm not sure if we do have it or if it's relevant, but do we have anything for securing the leadership of the country? I remember there was a bit of a uncertainty and an iffy situation in Ivan. Do we have a plan in place for securing the leadership of the country?
Certainly that falls within my ambit. I know you would have addressed that to the senator. But the forward deployment mechanism that we operate, yes, do take into consideration not just individuals within our own government, which of course we augment the security arrangements there, but we also have a comprehensive approach for persons that we have diplomatic relationships with as well. And we have a security unit that leads in following up in establishing contact, knowing locations, and have a response mechanism. First of all, making sure that they are secured, and then having a response mechanism right after to ensure those individuals' safety. So our head of state, our head of government, our ministers of government, our senators, as well as diplomats that we have on island as well. That forms part of our security response as well, and we have a unit dedicated for looking into those mechanisms as well.
Just to add one bit, just about 6 weeks ago, Commissioner Martin and I attended the security ministers meeting in St. Vincent, and he was to make a presentation to all the ministers. And I was really proud at the time when he spoke to the 4 deployments that the RGPF has put in motion, and to hear the leader of the meeting, Prime Minister Gonzalez, saying to Commissioner Martin that he should put a brief together to submit to RSS. And that brief, RSS now was mandated to submit it to all the commissioners within the region. Because from what I gathered, this was the best that they have heard. And that's what I'm talking about, the leadership. And I want to just say to the RGPF, and astutely led by Commissioner Martin, well done, congratulations, you have made us proud.
Any further questions from the media? No? Okay. I take it we have exhausted the discussion here this morning, but very interesting discussion. Lots of information. I see a lot of news stories coming out of this morning's press briefing. And of course, the season goes on for several months, so it will be quite useful, going forward. And critical to note, and that the point was made here this morning, that while we're using the hurricane season as the opportune moment to speak about disaster preparedness. Disasters are not limited to hurricanes. There are a variety of natural hazards that can, in fact, lead to disasters. So we must be aware and be prepared for all of them. Any final thoughts, comments from the two fine gentlemen?
Well, I just want to say to the nation, as we have stated this morning, yes, the season has started, but it's no time for us to become complacent. We have to be on alert at all times, because the decision that we make today could very well be the one that's going to save our lives and the lives of all the people around us. I wish you well. Thanks.
And for me, I will just say that make sure as a nation that we start developing our family plans, ensure that we follow the instructions that comes from NADMA, and please support our officers in their endeavors. No matter how well we are prepared, there can be systems and incidents within the natural hazards framework that can overwhelm any best plans that we have. But we can conquer and champion those if we had good collaboration and support from members of the public. Thank you.
Excellent words of advice there to bring a wrap on things here this morning. I am Press Secretary Philomena Robertson. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next week.
Saturday 8th and Sunday 9 June. It's Whitsuntide Games 2019. Kirani James Athletic Stadium. See participating teams from Trinidad and Tobago, Montserrat, Antigua and Barbuda, Haiti, Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, French Guyana, Guadeloupe, France, and our very own local clubs and schools compete to be Whitsuntide Champion 2019. Game starts at 1 p.m. Admission $20. Saturday 8th and Sunday 9 June. Whitsuntide Games 2019. Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Who will be Whitsuntide Champions 2019?
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Grenadians are well known for being friendly, hospitable people, so let's keep it that way. Here are 5 tips that you can use to better serve visitors, customers, and each other. Smile while interacting with persons face-to-face and on the phone. Maintain a warm, friendly tone when greeting someone. Be polite when asking a question and offering items for sale. Ask your guests if they are comfortable and enjoying the experience. And in all that you do, exceed expectations. Tourism benefits everyone. Tourism is everybody's business.
For over 2 decades, Grenada has had one of the highest electricity rates in the world. In a non-competitive environment, the high rates have been putting businesses under pressure, forcing householders to cut, stifling economic growth.
Oh my Grenada.
Like countries such as Dominica, St. Lucia, and Jamaica, Grenada is moving to open up the power generation sector to competition.
Oh my Grenada.
Like with telecommunications, competition will spur innovation, ensure efficiency and reliability, and make electricity more affordable. The economy will grow faster, and in the end, the network company will sell more. With a stronger economy, electricity usage will increase, maintaining profits for the provider while the prices gets lower for the consumer.
Power to the people. Oh my Grenada.
In a liberalized economy, everybody wins. Liberalization is about the people of Grenada. Fair competition, fair prices, power to the people.
You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada via www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
Turkey boy, you spent so long in America. What's your opinion about life in Grenada? How have we advanced? Tell me what progress you see. What's your opinion? Express it openly. Well, my friend, I can't deny there is progress to be seen. Let me explain clearly so you can understand what I mean. There are ways in which your nation has gone forward rapidly, yet I see mixed and uncertain destiny. We have come a long way, people, let me tell you, we have come a long way, oh Lord. We have come a long way, truly I can tell you, we have come a long way, oh Lord. We have come a long way, we have an international airport like other nations. We have come a long way, we can play our music on 3 local radio stations. We have come a long way, we had several years ago developed local industries. We have come a long way.
Yes, indeed. Good morning to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Hard Talk. You've been having the post-cabinet press briefing just finished. Good morning to you, Devon.
Good morning, Sheldon. And how you doing this morning, my bro? That's good. That's good to hear. Look, you look pretty sharp this morning.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Had water infrequently.
Oh, you had water?
Yeah,
okay. Like so, when you have water, then I know. Yeah. Anytime I see you looking so sharp, I know you get water.
Yeah, it had water infrequently.
But I'm so sorry for the persons who have experiencing difficulties in having fresh and clean water, around the island, and we
the good
empathize.
thing about that, though, is that when Senator Steele was here on Friday, he did speak of some of those environmental projects through which NAWASA is being funded. So they're doing the feasibility and so on right now. In other words, doing they're looking at the catchment areas and putting the plans in place to start construction. In fact, they've done a couple already. I think they're doing one somewhere. There's somewhere there's doing one. I know people started asking, well, where's the one for Laborie? But there's one that they're doing somewhere in St. Paul's or somewhere in that area.
Yeah, that's St. Paul's Mardi Gras.
Yeah, they've done one there, and they're doing several more.
A number of them has to be done around the island, and so. And I know that the people of Munich and St. Andrews, daily wait on when their turn will come, because they're part of that project also would ensure that storage facility and so is put in place for communities like Munich and surrounding areas who have been suffering from water for decades, and so. But hey, relief is in sight. All right.
It is a problem.
Yeah.
It is acknowledged by NAWASA. It is acknowledged by the government of Grenada.
Oh yes.
And that is why the approach that's being taken now to solving the problem. But in the interim, while you're dealing with creating the catchment areas and so on, you also have to deal with the fact that for the limited supply we do have and will continue to have, because it is a situation where we expect less than normal rainfall for this month, July and August. We do not expect to get extensive amounts of rain, at least not in one go. You may have one of the systems passing through and dump some rain, but in one go. And as such, we can't simply say, well, use up water as we want to. You go on your wash down car, and sometimes you wash my car and they wonder, what's going on. No, you yourself have to be responsible.
Very much
yeah,
so.
I prefer people talk than I have no water to drink. Yeah, so you wash down the car less frequently and that kind of thing. And I will not say go to the rivers and wash down, because I do not believe in that in any form or format. Because what you're doing is you're putting oil and you're putting gasoline and diesel, and then the chemicals you're washing, they're putting that into the rivers and streams. So I do not agree, and I will never say go and wash down in the rivers. But we have to be careful how we're utilizing water.
Yeah, very, very much so. And I just want to make that appeal. And as Senator Garwe in his press conference this morning reiterated the importance of storage, home storage for water, fresh drinking water. You have the drums, the big blue drums and black drums, and so fill them up with water, ensure they're well protected, so you have storage. Right, that is one of the ways that you can, mitigate on the problems that we might be facing as time comes about. You have, right, enough storage at least for, a week, 2 weeks, you understand, to take you through drinking water, water to flush your toilet, to wash, to bathe, and so on. It is very important as we move into the hurricane season, which has started on the 1st of July. It is very, very important to take heed of that.
Yeah, what else they spoke about, because I was unable to listen
well,
to this morning.
I
heard the voice of our acting police commissioner.
Yes, he was there. He was there. As a matter of fact, the press conference was more based on the disaster preparedness of both NAGMA and the police in terms of how they would respond, right, in case of emergencies and so on. We heard the minister responsible for disaster management and information, Senator Winston Garwe, outlining some of the plans that NAGMA has in place and disaster management on a whole, right? So over the last couple of months, they have engaged in a number of training and so for different constituency outfits and so responsible for disaster management, and so the shelter upgrades, right? And so there was about 14 shelters that were upgraded this time around, right? The amount of shelters that are there. Last year's count was around 111. This year, they have not yet given the amount of shelters, but most likely he's saying that there will be more based on the upgrades and so that has taken place, right? And so one other feature that they have implemented in the last week or so is the bringing out of more of the environmental wardens, right, to help clean the drains, cut the overhangings, and so in case of heavy rains and so you don't have flooding and so to create more damage than it should, the overhangings, and so we take care of that in case of heavy breeze, and so you don't want things falling onto the roadside, damaging persons and vehicles and that sort of thing. So he did outline some of the plans that they have, moving forward. The acting commissioner of police, gave an outline of the plans that the police have in tackling some of the issues that's related to hazards and disaster management, right? Like the security that will be put in place, and so in case of, for example, to mitigate the whole question of looting, and so they have, implemented some units that will be stationed before the hurricane or any hazards, right? And so you can it can be a more forward movement, right, of action by the police.
In other words, take it out of your mind if you had it in your mind.
Exactly, and they will be placed in strategic locations around the country, especially in the towns and so, right? So the RGPF will be out there ensuring that the security of the communities and the country of a whole, is well taken care of, and so we definitely had both of them in outlining and ensuring and giving the persons of this country the satisfaction that, look, in case of hazards and disaster, right, we are prepared. Okay?
Great. While the police are prepared and NADMA is prepared and the government is prepared, are you prepared as an individual?
As an individual.
Yeah. Yesterday we had Miss Oslin Crosby in with us.
Yes.
And she'll be back in 2 weeks. She'll be doing every other week. So since we did this week, she'll be back the week after.
The week after.
And she'll be in, and she'll be speaking about your private plan, your plan as a business place. And she spoke about several of the business places that had plans in place. She gave some praise to both SGU and Huggins.
Yes.
As two companies that, two institutions that people should look to as a model of how businesses and organizations arrange and organize for a natural disaster. In fact, she said SGU is part of the whole initiative. Yeah. Heavy in the thing.
Exactly, and they have been, and it's important, and to all to business places and persons who may want assistance in preparing, right, emergency plans and so, or find out what to do in case of emergencies and hazards and so. You can get in touch with NAGMA, right, and so on. They will give you a list of things that you should do, can be done, and help you prepare in case of, we are confronted with any of these situations and so. All right.
So, folks, you can call in. The phone number 440-7377.
And 347-329-3101. That's our overseas line.
Yeah, initially, I wasn't supposed to be here, but what I was doing finished fast, so you know me. I ain't going to just take the
duty.
Yes,
duty call.
I'll come. Hey, today, the 4th day of June, at the Tivoli RC School from 2 p.m., those of you in St. Andrew Northeast, for Tivoli and Belmont, you can go there and register for the uniform voucher program, yeah? All you need to do is carry with you your voter identification card, yeah, your national ID. You go there. So that's today, Tivoli and Belmont at the Tivoli RC School for 2 p.m. Those of you in Bel Air, Carrier, Moya, and Conference, you're at the Bel Air Government School tomorrow from 1 p.m. I think we have a call on the line.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome.
And how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. And you?
I'm calling asking a question.
Go right ahead.
These trucks and them that was drove the garbage from, when I say garbage, like if a house break down somewhere and they have to take up all the after dig up from it or what the case may be, and the dust, when they dig in places to make foundation and they have all this amount of dirty, like their teeth and thing, and joking it from one end to the next. Doesn't they have to have something to cover it down from the wind blowing all this stuff all about the place?
As far as I know, they do. I don't know if it's Devon.
Yeah, they do. As a matter of fact, it's mandated. It's mandated that when trucks and so are transporting things like gravel, sand, and even the materials you're talking about, it should be covered, right? For a number of reasons. For the same reason you're talking about, the blowing of the stuff, and so also for the protection of persons, pedestrians walking the street in case of something fall off, and so there should be a covering, and it should be well protected.
Well, I'm living in Cali, and they have a truck. I don't know if the name of the company is Lala or something so. And they're jogging some stuff and where they digging the teeth and thing. And I'll sit in the veranda and they're coming across this coming deep because you have houses around. And the dust is just keep on flying, and they don't care.
Okay, well, no, that is a serious problem, especially to you.
So I want to know if you have a law that when they're taking these things, if they don't have to cover it down.
As far as I know, when it's a situation like that, but I definitely have to dig into the law. I've heard that it is, but to be very honest with you, I myself have not seen it. I've heard that it's part of the law, but I myself have not seen it. I don't know if it's part of the road traffic regulations. I can search while we're speaking, I can check. But I'm not sure if it's part of the road traffic regulation or some other regulation. But I believe it is so. I can check. Because we have that problem, one, with some trucks, and it isn't one company. It's a general problem we have around the island with trucks that are carrying things and are not covering down properly. So you tend to see them going up a hill, and then you end up with a set of gravel on the hill and a bike man having a problem, or somebody else even walking. You're sliding on gravel that some truck dropped, or sand is flying, you driving behind, and even at the proper distance behind, you have sand hitting you in your eye. You're inside your vehicle, but you have sand hitting you inside your eye, and gravel pitching up and hitting your windscreen, cracking your screen, all sorts of things. So you have raised a very valid point.
Yeah.
I do need to check the legislation to see if
yes,
it is there. And if it
the
is
whole
not,
time they're joking from since when. And I sit in the veranda there and you see the wind blowing, if you see the dust from the back of the church, they're flying, and you have children that are wrong. They might have asthma, they might have some kind of complaint, and inhaling these stuff and them is bad for them.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, my dear.
Okay, then thank you.
Thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
day.
Thank you.
And she said
that is
asthma. When you were small, how much people you know had asthma?
very few, you know.
You think this asthma thing is a thing that come up? Is that thing?
It was not something that was
I was small. I probably
regular.
knew about 2 people with asthma.
Yeah, and serious cases. You don't usually have, you know.
Maybe 1 or 2. I knew more people with what we used to call fits or epilepsy than
Yeah,
I knew with asthma.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, you had the odd girl or fella in school that, every now and again they drop down and, leave them on the side.
Yeah.
Make sure they don't bite off the
They
tongue.
bite off the tongue and that
just
sort of
leave
thing.
them. Just
Yeah.
leave them for a while. They'll get okay. You used to see them in the class and, or you have assembly or something and you see they start to look funny and you know what's going to happen. So everybody just clear.
And Sheldon, on that point, the lady was raising there. I've seen, for the last couple of days, traveling over the Granite Tank, and I must compliment most of the truckmen I see traveling over the Granite Tank with sand and gravel. I say most, not all of you, but most of you, right? With their load, they have your protection, you have your tarpaulin well covered, so you won't have the spill. And most of you, again, I've noticed, not overloading your truck. And so, and that is good, right? You must, pay attention to what is going on, and you must, not you alone that use the road. So I love to see that and continue doing, that. And so,
we have a caller.
Good morning and welcome.
Yes, good morning, birds.
Good morning, my friend.
I just want to ask a question, how things going with money with the government on my behalf?
Oh, yeah, with the pension issue.
Sheldon?
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, what?
I want a call to just find out. I want to know how things are going.
No problem. I'll do that for you when you hang up.
Huh?
I'll do that for you when you hang up.
Well, right, I put it down, so I go hear what you say.
No problem.
All right, boss, take care.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Prime Minister did make that announcement that they are looking now to start paying pension to the people who do not qualify
for pension.
For the pension as it is right now. In other words, people who may have worked even more than the 26 and 3/4, but who they do not have, they work the 26 and 3/4, but they do not have a letter stating that, look, was in the service for that 26 and 3/4. People like Bull, who might have been there 30-something years, even 40 years.
40 years.
But they didn't have a letter at that time. But these people work, they produce, they do the same, and in some instances work harder than people with letters. In some instances, work even harder than people with letters. So the Prime Minister said that first, let them deal with the first set that the Memorandum of Understanding spoke to. Now, there is a signed Memorandum of Understanding between the government of Grenada and the trade unions representing the various public sector workers. There is a signed Memorandum of Understanding that government will make a part payment along with the NIS payment to bring the pension up to 70% for all the people who have retired and those to be retired. So that instead of what they're getting now, they will get 70%. So whatever they're getting from NIS, government will top up the difference to bring it up to 70% of their last salary. Yeah, so it's 70% of the last salary that you work for. So you work for $100, you're going to get $70, right? Right now, it could be a situation they're getting $55. Government going to make the top up to bring it up to $70. So that is what is taking place. Yeah, that is what is taking place. Now, what is happening is that the Pension Secretariat is working on that. So they're doing the calculations because my salary would be different from Devon's salary, would be different from Nazim's salary, would be different from what Bull was working for. So in each instance, it's not simply that you say, okay, 70%, and you know that everybody was working for that, so that's what they're getting. In each instance, people's salary are different according to the category of worker they were and the position they held. So you have to do the calculations now for everybody. And we're still talking here about those that qualify under the law as it is now. You have to now do the calculations for each of these persons, each and every person individually, and then start making the payments to them. right? So that is where government is at with that right now. What the government has been saying is that as soon as they are finished with those payments, they finish organizing and they start the process of paying these people at the 70%, that the others, like Bull and maybe thousands of others who have worked in the public service, who have made the requisite time, but maybe missing out one other aspect of it, and they saw quote-unquote daily paid workers and many others. And maybe they may I work 20 years and they work the 26 and 3/4. Yeah. But these other people, that they would be qualified for a pension, maybe not at the 70%, so don't necessarily look for it at the 70%. Yeah, I don't think the percentage has been settled on because the unions would have a say in relation to it as well. Yeah. So I don't think that figure has been settled. But that figure will be settled, and this category of workers will also start to receive a pension. So the faster they finish with the first part, the faster they can start the second part. Yeah, because Bull want money.
Yeah, and there are a lot of workers, I mean, who have been working since in the late 70s and 80s and so on, who have not qualified under the the Public Service Commission letter or what the case may be, and they need to be taken care of because they are citizens of this country. They pay tax, they pay VAT, everything,
and made contributions,
and make serious contribution towards the development of our country. So everyone, the pie should be shared right across the board. Mm-hmm. Some must not get, and some must get.
Yeah, it has to be even.
It have to be, yeah.
4407377
and 347-329-3101.
Yeah, Devon. So the people in Bel Air, Carriacou and conference tomorrow for 1 p.m. at the Bel Air Government School. I realize this thing seems to be an issue for some people.
Yeah.
Why every time poor people are to get something is an issue?
And I look at who is pushing, right? Storing up the mischief. Surrounding that.
I really must ask them a question, in particular the NDC, because they're making an issue. Now, the constituency office sent out the information. We got the information, and through any medium we send it out because we want the information to reach the people that really need it. That's the main thing,
Exactly.
Not who send it out, but that people who are in need are able to benefit. Yeah? I mean, any humanitarian, anybody that really looks at a situation and says, well, this needs to be addressed, would say the same thing. They say, well, look, this is a situation that needs to be addressed, and the government of the day is addressing the situation. There are children whose parents cannot afford the uniform to send them to school. And that should not be an excuse why a child cannot attend school. You can't be passing second week of September and seeing a child running about a yard and ask them, well, why ain't go to school? My mother can't buy her 2 shirts and a pants for them.
Yeah, shoes.
Yeah? Or you have to be sending your children in rotation. You send some and then you send the others, that kind of thing. It cannot be a situation
unacceptable.
Like that. Yeah, so government, but anytime something is for poor people, these guys have a problem.
Oh yeah. Good morning and welcome. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Romain and Mr. Scott.
Good morning to you, sir.
This is an old man. Maybe some of you know me. You may not know me. I'm just calling, and I'll be very short. Thank you, young men, for doing the work you all are doing. May God bless you all. Keeping old people like me in the diaspora informed. Have a blessed day, young man.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my friend. And you have a wonderful day.
One thing I'll always take is blessing from elder people.
Oh, yes.
I take it from children too, but taking blessing from elder
taking
people
from elder
any
people.
day.
Because that is what we're here for, to inform.
I work a lot with youth, but I spend a lot of time with elder people too.
Experience. You are smart.
To sit down
you're a
with
smart guy.
People.
You're a very smart guy.
Ever since I was
wisdom.
Yeah. Always find me in between a couple of older men.
Yeah, and we always try to do our best to share as much information to everybody, everyone. And so because we feel that the nation must be informed.
Yeah.
How can we move forward?
But Devon, again, let me ask that question. And I ask the question, and I would like them to answer. Why is it always a problem when something is being done for the poorer people, the needy people in Grenada? You have the voucher program. Who is the voucher program for? Is the voucher program for people who are working for all kind of $8,000 and $9,000? Is it for people who are working for a couple thousands of dollars well, and they don't have a set of bills and so on? One child they have, so they could more than afford. No, it's not for them.
Yeah.
The voucher program is for the people who may have 2, 3 children. Even if you have one child, but the mother might be unemployed, or even if she's employed, the salary that she is getting might be so small that it's really a stretch when she have to deal with that. So government steps in and say, listen, lady, you're paying tax. Let me try and help you out.
Yeah.
Let me try and give you a hand up, not a hand out, a hand up. But every time the government tries to do something for poor people in this country, you have these people that has come out and just start to yap. It's always a problem. Who cares where the information comes from? And the only NNP office in Grenada here, we're at it right now. Right next door there.
As
the
only
new National
NNP
Party
office.
headquarters.
Yeah, that's why I know. Only one I know.
Every one of the other 15 constituency offices are constituency offices. Yes, the NNP representative is in there. The NNP representative, as the person who ran on the NNP ticket and won the election, that individual is inside there. But it's not an NNP office.
No,
it's a
it's not.
constituency office operated through the Parliament of Grenada.
And I have an issue with that, Sheldon. When persons continue to go on the radio, different airways, and talk about, why you having it in an NNP office? It's not an NNP, it's your parliamentary representative office. Yeah. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Comrade Devon and Senator Scott. Pleasant good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Oh, God, I say, give me up, man.
Nice hearing the voice, man.
Yeah, man, I got a call at least. I'm there. I know I'll be a little quiet this couple of days, but I think I got information now.
Good.
Afraid when you got
I got enough information all around.
Afraid when you got
How you guys doing?
Oh, we pretty good, man. We good.
That's good. Probably, probably I may see you guys when I come.
Yeah, you have to.
I think I got to take I'm coming for the festival.
Okay, that's within a couple of days.
Yes.
Oh, Freddie Jackson. Okay. Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, that's good.
But it's gonna be a quick spin around though.
Yeah, even if it's 5 minutes, boss. Even if it's 5 minutes, make yourself available.
I'll go try.
Right.
Because I'm coming in Friday, leaving Tuesday.
Okay. So
all right.
So you go see it's quick.
Right. You got to be
but
tight.
I'll see what I can do.
All right.
No problem, man.
Right?
All right.
It's going to be good to see you. How is the wife?
She's all right. She's pretty good. I think I'll be pulling her along with me.
Yeah, do that.
That's good. She need that vacation.
Exactly.
We're looking forward to seeing you then.
All right, boss.
All right, all right. All right.
And
let me say good morning to Miss Carmi one time.
Yeah, she's listening.
Yeah.
You know his problems if you don't say that.
Right.
All right.
So, Bryce, you guys continue the good work, and I will catch up with you guys when you get done.
Thank you.
Okay, you take care.
All right, Bryce. Okay, then. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4407377. So the overseas line seems to be the busy line.
Yeah,
this morning.
yes, that's it, and it's good. It's good, you know.
But Devon, name one program for poor people that these individuals have ever supported.
I'll think about it before the program done.
Listen, Imani. There's a lot of poor people, children that inside Imani.
Of course.
People who have the means and so on, sometimes they send their children overseas on their own expense. They send their children overseas to study, or they send them to university immediately on their own expense. Poor people, children can't get that opportunity. Imagine poor people, children get the opportunity through Imani now, and they have a problem.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my friend.
We have a problem, eh? It's coming to be a problem now. With this maintenance gang they have on the road there. From the time they hear that one set of people get in a fortnight, like it's them alone will have pot to put on fire.
Okay.
No, that's how to change, you know. Even though it's 2 fortnight they give everybody 1, give everybody 2, give everybody 3, give everybody, you understand?
No, you're right.
You understand? Everybody talking about that now. That is the headline now.
And I know your area, so I'll follow up on that one with the representative. We ain't gonna say it on air, but I know your area, so I'm gonna follow up on that one.
Yeah.
All right, my
All right,
friend.
sir.
All right, my friend. Have a wonderful day.
And you see, this is what the Prime Minister, political leader, was speaking about at the General Council when he said some people want to eat
Everything.
everything. They want to give somebody else a little something, but it have to share equally, and it don't matter what political party. You will watch a child starve and say that the mother is a NDC. You go watch a child without the clothes to go to school and say you're not giving them because their father is an activist at the National Democratic Congress or something. You can't do that.
No, that's unacceptable.
I wouldn't support stupidness like that.
I don't want to be a part of things like that
Yeah,
because
I
we all
support that,
Grenadians.
yeah.
Good morning and welcome.
Devon, Sheldon, what's going on, man? Vaughn.
Fine. Hey.
Now, what's up, Vaughn, man? How are you doing, man?
We good.
Yes, man. I just checking in to see how the guys doing. Everything good?
We're great for the time being.
Yeah, we going good and
All again water?
well, Sheldon gets some this morning. I always get in.
Bus and pipe down by me.
You see Sheldon looking good. He bathed.
In fact, down by me have a bus pipe, huh?
all right. Well, we go check it out, man.
Right after where I'm staying. Just a little bit like if you're going to go up the hill on the left-hand side. There's a pipe.
Okay, that will deal with the ASP.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, my friend.
Respect, man. All the best.
You good otherwise?
Yes, I'm good.
All right.
You must drop in.
Yes.
You must drop in and check us.
All right.
All right, man.
All right, you take care. Yeah, and a special good morning to the entire staff of Nawasa. Yeah, good morning to all of you, wherever you're there, in the field, in the offices.
They have a thankless job.
Yeah.
Rain don't fall, you don't have much water, and then everybody costs you for the water.
Exactly. Like you have to make, you could make the water.
Yeah, I mean.
And they do, Nawasa is doing an excellent job, right, based on what they have available to them, right? And every year they have been improvements, right, in the water facilities, in the infrastructure that carry the water. Every year there has been improvement, even in the service in the office and so, right, there have been improvements. So you must compliment, right, I mean, persons or an organization that is providing a service, right, to a nation. I mean, that is exceptional, So good morning to all the staff of Nawasa, wherever you are, right, what part of the country, in the mountains, those maintenance guys, hey, good morning to you guys. Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, sir, good morning.
Sheldon.
Yes, sir. We're hearing you. You go right ahead. Yes, we're hearing you. You go right ahead.
I just listen to the radio then I want to talk about once that gang getting work on the road. Some people just want the people in the house and give them work. You have to go out and look for the work. I know you have people just go and sit down around the people and them and looking for work daily. And when the time comes, most of them people and them who home want work and who going out and hustle.
Yeah.
So they have to go out and look for it. They can't sit down and look and expect the NP office to come inside. The NP office to come in the house and look for work. Give them work.
Okay.
Okay, later.
All right, my friend. Hello.
Oh boy, rain is falling outside.
Yeah, rain is falling outside.
Yeah, my car is open.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
You know, one thing, Sheldon, if I should just make a little comment on what the gentleman has said. What I've been noticing with the environmental wardens, it's a different system altogether from the regular debushing program, Sheldon. Because what you find is that there are a number of persons who have been contracted, right, either on a 6-month base or on a yearly basis to continuously do the environmental warden's job. It's not the question of just cutting on the side of the road or whatever. It's a combination of things that they are engaged in, right? So persons have been given a contract, right, to do that. So you would not find everybody within a particular area doing that, but you will just have a particular group who has a contract for a particular time to continue to do it, right? And so, but that is not making an excuse for what the gentleman has said. We must be mindful that every single Grenadian who needs, right, to have a job must be given a job. Okay?
It's in the center, right next to the cupola there.
Yeah.
You know, 4407377. Oops. Kind of had the line blocked. Yeah, so let's get that call.
Good morning and welcome.
Ooh, I wasn't quick enough on the job. I'm sorry. Call us back. I'm sorry.
Call us back and,
but no,
share
there's several
information.
issues there. That's why when you hear these things, you always have to bring it to the attention of the MP. Because it could be, yes, some instances. I know there were instances in some areas. They're fighting, struggling to get some people to make up a gang.
And they can't get.
Because so much guys, especially men, the guys out doing construction and so on. Other areas, you have people waiting.
Yeah. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. How are you all?
Oh, we're fine. And how are you?
I am doing wonderful.
Good to hear.
Beautiful. Listen, Mrs. Hood, Brenda Hood, she is off island, and I just wanted on her behalf to say thank you to all the women's branches in all the constituencies, the New National Party women's groups that contributed to the NNP Lime that was held last Friday at Mount Helicon. It was very successful. It was well supported, and all the food was prepared with a lot of love because it was rather tasty. And Devon, I looked for you.
Yeah, I know.
But I just want to say that we, on her behalf, thank you to all those who prepared the food, who donated items, who came out. There were some ladies who came out and spent the entire day from morning till night, because we were closing up almost 10 o'clock, and those people were there. And that's, just showing their level of commitment to the party and to the organization, and I just want to say thank you very, very much. And we are going to be doing it again at the end of this month. I want to thank you all too for helping us with the advertisement every day and for pushing it so much, and people heard and they came out. So we want to say thank you to you and Sheldon in there as well. So thank you again, and we're looking forward to y'all continuing to help us get the message out.
Doc?
Yes, darling.
I only have one complaint.
Sorry?
I woke up on Friday morning dreaming of oil down with pigtail. I don't know why. I just woke up Friday morning dreaming for oil down with pigtail. And I so thought I'd get some oil down with pigtail.
Well...
No, hold on. I didn't get the oil down with pigtail, but I get pigfoot sauce. I get pigfoot and split peas. I get watch. I get enough pork down inside here. I tell you, but I still feeling for the anybody have oil along with pig.
Well, let me tell you.
Pigtail,
let me tell you. Two things I want to say before I leave is that I was also disappointed, but there was something happened, a health issue. With the people that were supposed to be preparing the oil down, it was a health issue involving one of their children. So that was why we didn't get the oil down.
Yeah.
But come Sunday, this Sunday, my church will be on Davy Beach. And I really think you don't know Davy Beach. You know where Davy is? Sheldon?
Yes, we do. We do know where Davy is.
No, Sheldon, I was asking.
If I know where Davy is.
Okay.
Yes, I know where Davy is.
So come up on Davy on Sunday, and you're going to get oil down with pigtail. Plenty. I'll make sure I leave plenty pigtail for you. This might not buy a bucket.
I'm making sure and call you on Saturday and remind you.
No, for real. This is true. My church will be going up there to spend the day. Fun day.
Your church going with pigtail?
Sorry?
Your church going with pigtail? That's songing, right?
Which church?
I thought you were a member of the Seventh-day Adventist.
No, sir.
Oh,
you're 9 years and counting late.
Lord. All right. Doc, bye-bye. Yeah, I find this conversation going.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
So y'all please come up, and y'all will get good oil up.
All right.
Right? Have a great day, and thanks again, huh?
Okay, Doc.
All right, bye-bye.
I misinterpreted that one.
Yeah.
When she said she bought a bucket of it at the church, I said, what? We have a caller online.
Good morning and welcome.
Hello, morning.
Good morning, my friend.
Yeah, good morning to both of you, guys.
Yes.
And to the listening public, yeah? What I could just air my views on the traffic situation, yeah?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, I just tuned in, yeah? So, what I wanted to say, we have seen an increase in the number of traffic accidents, yeah?
Yes.
For the year.
I believe so, yeah.
there had been an increase. And I think just I saw that. Just Saturday there was a bike incident in Lansing there. And the police had blocked the road so you couldn't enter down there into Lansing from Dusty Highway there. But after you go through the block there and they make a detour, you had to go through certain terrain to get to Junction down there and Calabash Hotel. What I think the government should do, they should work on opening all these roads in the south of the city, Granada area. For instance, there is also roads like in the back of BBC, I understand, going down to La Luna down there. They could open these roads and widen the roads so when you have congestion in Granada on the main road, you can use all this road, the John Angley Road and all this other road. You understand the point I'm making?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I heard the Prime Minister make mention once on the news about highway or something. No, let me correct that. They can do flyover or something like that in time to come. But I think we need to concentrate on these minor roads first, so it could help ease the congestion on there. Another point I want to make on traffic there, I think there is an increase in the number of vehicles now on the road. Every week, I think vehicles come out from the port and come here. And I know the government is making a lot of revenue in this area. But we still need to control the amount of vehicles that is coming in. Because at the end of the day, we do not have the road network to handle all these vehicles. And it's now congestion. So I think that is leading into a lot of the accident we're having. The government needs to look at this seriously because too many vehicles are coming in here. I know they're making money in the treasury, but they need to work around it.
But how they making money in the treasury and the vehicles coming in and Grenadians broke? As far as some people say, we living in a kind of state like Somalia.
I hear you a little low, but you're saying how they're making money?
No, I'm saying now, how the government making money and people bringing in vehicles and all Grenadians supposed to be broke? Where that money coming from?
They're buying vehicles somehow. I don't know where they're getting the money. Maybe they know what they're doing to make, maybe remittance, people sending money for them.
Progress.
Foreigners.
Progress.
Another thing concerning that, over the weekend there was a show in Sotters. And I had seen the police checking, which is good, before the show. There was in the Victoria area, close to Waltham School, checking for people with license insurance on vehicles, which was good, heading into the show. But after the show, leading into Sunday morning, guys who came from the show was behaving lawless on the road. I'm not saying they are drunk, but the way these guys are driving after shows, man, innocent people going to church and coming from church, the law-abiding people on that morning, they cannot use the road. For instance, I was driving from Grenville to Stairs. I had to run out the road.
Oh boy,
You're breaking up.
Hello?
Something is, caller, you might have to give us a call
Yeah,
back because what's happening now is your phone is
dropped.
breaking up.
Yeah, breaking up
Probably
badly.
using a wireless phone and either you moved away from the thing or the phone is going dead. So, but we do understand where you were getting at. The type of driving that occurs after some of these events, especially where people have gone and they've used a lot of alcohol and then they're driving crazy on the streets and that sort of thing. So I do understand where you're coming from, and I understand also that you're making a call on the Royal Grenada Police Force, not just to address the issues before the shows,
but after the show,
especially after with some of the driving.
A very good point, eh?
Yeah, I agree with you.
And so because and I, as he said, I cannot say at times that they are drunk unless you know. But the way in which some of them drive after these events and so, I mean, it's cause for concern, right? And yeah, I think, well, the commissioner of the police, they are always listening, right, and taking ideas, and so to make, right, the traffic situation in our country much better, right, safer, and for everyone. So this is the ideas that they will take on board, and so.
It's always important. It's always important to get the views on different things like this. And I think that's That's a valid point.
It is.
Probably more police officers out at the end of these activities.
At the end of the activities in the morning.
I have seen some accidents after activities.
Yeah,
and that's not just this year. That's a constant thing. And not just here in Grenada.
No, but it's
throughout the region.
exactly.
Because you have individuals who, they've gone to an event, and let's say they've gone to the event about 10 in the night, 9, 10. And they're there for the entire night.
6, 7
You're
hours.
drinking. You're jumping up and down, your body's tired,
exhausted,
and drinking alcohol on top of that. And then at the end of that, you get behind the wheel of a vehicle and you're trying to drive.
And you're driving for at least a half an hour.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Good morning and
Hello,
welcome.
good morning.
Good morning, my friend.
Morning, Mr. Sheldon.
Green man is here.
Green man is right here. Morning, Mr. Devon.
Good morning, my friend.
How are you? How are you?
Oh, I'm good.
Well, I hear you have a good time Friday.
You're wrong. You should have come.
You should have
but,
come.
I didn't come because I have something to go and do and I'm not done, I'm tired, so I want to sleep. But something I want to say, I hear you play a song this morning. You have a long way to go.
Me play it?
Yeah, you play song this morning after
guys
the thing this morning.
Yeah,
we have come a long way.
So what are you saying now? We have a government with a team doing very well.
Exactly.
He is for the people, not for himself. So now I'm saying now they have a long way to go. Yeah, that's what I said?
Yes, my friend.
They have a long way to go. They don't come back and make us see no trouble. We have a good team to make Grenada feel happy. So, anyhow, take care.
All right, my friend.
And folks, we return to our normal format tomorrow. We're going to have a minister in, and Elisa the minister named me, and I promised myself I wouldn't do that until the minister
until they reach, yeah.
But we have a minister in with us tomorrow who's going to address a lot of the issues, some that we raised today and some others.
Sometimes we might be able to say a female or a male because they are almost equal amount of parliamentarians sitting in parliament.
So I ain't saying
you understand? So
what I will say is that I like this song.
Sometimes we might be able to say a female or a male because
I had to play that one for Abby, man. Abby, rest in peace, brother.
Yes, man.
Dr. G was a teacher before he became a doctor. He was an all-rounder and also a soldier. He gone to return all home, leaving friends and family to mourn. He died suddenly while attending to Dorothy. She say he died a hero. Plenty people told. When I saw Dr. G was dying, I took up like a jet plane. I run from Windsor to Balthazar before I find a driver. Was a nice man, was a loving man. He died with love and affection.
Amen. Abby,
rest in peace.
Yes,
boy.
rest in peace, man. To the family
brother.
and so condolences are in prayer. He died definitely a hero.
Yeah, Abby is a hero.
Abby is a hero. You understand? He made his time and
the
contribution.
Fraternity make sure they come out to his funeral.
Yes, and support the family and friends.
Over the past couple of years, we've been losing a lot. We lose Tangla, we lose Tangla, we lose Steffi.
Yeah.
We come back, we lose this African teller.
Yeah, we lost about 3 or 4 of them in the last 2 years.
Even if you want thing you like, what's his name again?
Shatariki.
Shatariki.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we losing a few. We lose a few in the last couple of years and so make sure, man. Lose Steffi Tangla, African teller. Now we lose Abby. Yeah? Yeah, that's a big tune.
Good morning, Brenda.
Brenda, you must like that tune. Like, too much trouble you like. You must like that tune. You know why you like the tune?
Yes, Brenda.
Brenda, maybe they're watching outside now. Yeah, you like that tune. Anyway, 4407377, that's the number to call.
Yes.
Devon, again, the question is, why when something is for poor people, the activists at the NDC have a problem with it? So, the constituency offices, the people of that constituency voted to put the individual who's in that constituency office in that constituency office. We know you might be upset with it, you might be vexed with it, you might not like it or like the individual, but the majority of people in that constituency voted to put the person who is sitting in that constituency office sitting there as the MP.
Exactly.
And that office guides and directs the work of the government in that constituency. So if they send out something and say to people in the constituency, well, you can come to that constituency office, that's their representative. We expect them to tell them, come by you.
Majority rule.
That is their representative. So they're going to go to that individual.
Yep.
And they're going to go to that constituency office and they register for the program. The people in that constituency office who are within the constituency are the best people to make the evaluation and say, well, okay, well, let me see. This person, they come there, but we know that they have the means. You could do the research and find out or whatever. But at the end of the day, that has to come from a constituency basis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, you have the people of the constituency vote for a representative. A majority of them did. When that parliamentary representative has to do anything, right, within that constituency, it comes through the office, the constituency office, which it represents every single person in that constituency, not NNP or NDC alone, everyone, right? Election is done. It is time to move on, right? And to ensure that we provide services to every single Grenadian.
You think so? Them no election? Now sure it's allowed on driving with the NDC flag up. Anyhow.
Oh, no, he take it on. He
take it down.
The wind mash it.
Yeah. Anyhow, with that said, I just, in my mind, I've always seen that they have a problem when something is being done for the poorer class of people in this country. So now that you have that program being done, they are doing things to discourage the poorer people from being part of the program.
They don't like
when
people.
They need it. You have a situation where you have youngsters who've been leaving school looking for the opportunity, and I hear them about they created the national training. Nonsense. The NDC did not create the national training agent. Let me tell you what the story is there. Before the July 8 elections in 2008, there was a program launched by the government of Grenada called the GTEP program. An aspect of the GTEP program included CVQ and NVQ qualification for the trainees who were involved in the program. You had centers around different parts of the island. No one center had 500. And there were many centers around the island. Boca Secondary School. There was a center, I believe, in Plains and St. Patrick. Different centers around the island where people went to learn different vocational things, who were doing drafting or who were doing dressmaking and different things like that. GTEP program. So they could be NVQ, that's National Vocational Qualification, or CVQ, Caribbean Vocational Qualification. Everything was put in place. NDC came in. Apart from sending home the Imani, we don't speak about those people who are receiving a stipend. And we're not talking anything under 2,000 young people here, separate to the 2,000 from Imani. The GTEP program was closed down. In fact, the only people to fully complete their course was a group of young men who were doing drafting. And I think they were doing it through either GBSS or TAMCC, somewhere in Tantine. They were doing that. They were the only people. The late Mr. Patterson made sure that they completed their course, even though he couldn't certify them at the end, because of what was done by the NDC administration at that point in time. Then they took the model that was used to create GTEP and they created the Grenada National Training Agency, the NTA. At the same time, they took what we were doing in the GTEP and they put it into the Grenada Youth Upliftment Program. And they can't tell me a lie because I was still in the ministry. I'm the person that designed the GUP logo. So I know exactly what took place. Others could talk and all kind of thing like they know what happened. I could talk from a point of knowing because I was there when GTEP was set up and I was there when GTEP was stripped down. We just don't often talk about GTEP. Sometimes I still come in here and I wear my GTEP shirt. I still have a GTEP shirt.
I always see with it.
I still as well. Yeah. So this thing they're giving about, there was no certification for the people outside of Imani and all this sort of thing. The GTEP now was what was going to take some of these people who were in Imani for a while and certify them.
Send them out.
That was the next step, to certify them through the GTEP program, give them the NVQ and CVQ qualifications, and then send them along the pathway of We had the Grenada Youth Enterprise Initiative running at the time. So they start their small business or they get permanent employment with a company also because now you have your CVQ or your NVQ.
Private companies would pull you up,
Or you decide you're going to do like what some 21, 22 young people recently did. You go and you do further education. So you go to university or whatever after. That was the timeline that we were going down. Then they took that, scrapped it, and came back with it as though it's something new. Try that with somebody else. Don't try that with me. One of these days I want to end up on a TV program with one of them to strip them in public and make people see how disingenuous and intellectually dishonest some of these individuals are.
Forgive them, Lord. They know what they
No, one of these days I'll go on a TV program with one of them, and I go strip them intellectually right there. Facts based on documents that I have and people that I can bring to speak to prove everything that I'm saying.
But Sheldon, they should not be talking because they are a failure. I mean, everything that they have touched has failed. So why talk?
They're attacking the Imani and so. How many people came out of GIA program with certification? How many people spend the full time GIA was put together in what? May, June of no, a little earlier than that, in 2009. How many people started in 2009 and were still there come 2013? But they're talking about people like Imani now. Take the beam out of your own eye. But realize what the NDC is doing is that they are trying to distance themselves from that period 2008 to 2013.
And the persons that was associated with it.
So right now, they kick Brother Nas to the curb.
Oh, yeah, big time.
And especially when they thought they might have a chance, they would team and thing. And they ain't working out. So they thought it would work out. Yeah. But that is the situation. They have a problem. Anything is done for poor people, children in this country, or poor people. Anytime. What was one of the hallmarks of the NDC administration 2008 to 2013? Cut off old people water. Send home 2,000 Imani. Yeah, and then come talking about we put in place a free barrel program. Free me food. It was costing the country over $8 million. Free me food. It wasn't free.
The finance minister wasn't looking at the bigger picture.
Anyway, let me go on.
As usual. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yes,
morning,
my
sir.
friend.
Well, as I'll wind down, I'll be very, very brief. You know, and Mr. Scott, whether you NDC or NNP, we have to kind of get out of this kind of level of hypocrisy. Now, listen, to believe, this is my personal opinion, to believe that the government won't use social program as a database politically is either wishful thinking or pure hypocrisy. I will end by saying here is that if you don't understand the game, you should get out of it. Gentlemen, have a pleasant day.
All right,
have a wonderful day, my friend.
So what is our government supposed to do? Don't do anything because you're afraid now that it will help you win our next election?
I don't know. You do the right thing.
Anytime you're doing something that's going to help people, and there generally will be a positive spin-off from it, you're not supposed to do it. You're supposed to say, no, let me give NDC a chance. Let me don't do that. Let me don't give the uniform assistance.
Let me don't give the books.
Let me don't give books. Let me don't try and fix the schools during the period and so.
Let me don't give
try and do them kind
transportation allowance. Let me not give that. And they benefit. But you see, a government is put in place to serve the people of the country, not one set of people. So when you have persons who cannot afford, irrespective of where you live or who you support, you cannot afford, your children will go to school ensuring that they have support from the government in office. And NNP has been doing a good job of that.
Let me say this one quickly for those of you in Carriacou and surrounding areas, because we know that the Carriacou medical station has been an issue of concern. So a contractor has been selected to begin the renovation work at the Carriacou Medical Center. So they have the contractor now. The center has been closed since nurses there indicated that they were unable to continue working at the facility due to the need for repairing of the building. In fact, that was announced here on Hard Talk when Kevin called in and he announced that Carriacou Medical Center was being closed. During this period, the funding needed was secured. So the funding is there now. The money is there. And directive has now been given to the staff to secure items in the building so so the work can start. So the Ministry of Health now has to take their stuff out so the Ministry of Works could do what they have to do. The contractor is ready to proceed once the items have been secured. So as soon as the items are inside there, are secured by the staff from the Ministry of the nurses and so on, then the contractor could start to do work on the Carriacou Medical Station one time. The contractor is ready to proceed once these items have been secured. The Ministry of Health has indicated that the nurses will complete this task soonest so the contractor could begin his work. The parliamentary representative wishes to thank everyone concerned for their patience and understanding during this period that funding was being secured for the start of the work. The contractor is committed to undertake the work in the shortest possible time so the people of the community can access the services in the shortest possible time.
Yeah.
Right? And you know the MP is the Honorable Emlyn Pear. So folks, those of you up in Carriacou and so, as soon as the stuff is moved out from inside there, the equipment and medication, whatever else is there,
then work will proceed.
Work will proceed and in the shortest possible time. You know, certain people who come now, shortest possible time, they lie, tell us 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So, no, I ain't telling you, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Because if it is not done in 2 weeks, then I'll go in and cuss and say the government ain't doing nothing. So, I ain't saying no time.
But rest assured that the priority, one of the priorities of this government is healthcare. So once you know that, you know it will be done in the shortest possible time. Okay?
Looks now, a good friend of mine says she was there when they promised not to send them home and they were sent home. Every time there's a program or anything to deal and help the poor people of this country, the NDC and its activists have a problem.
A serious problem too.
They have a big problem. Yeah? Anytime anything is being done. So whether it's giving a voucher for schools or it is young persons who may come from very poor households that have an opportunity through the Imani, or it's awarding scholarships to some people who family maybe never had anybody that reached further than secondary school. Whatever it is, they always have a problem with it. They have problems with it. Say go in and do something for upper class and people that they think they are no problem with that, but they always have a problem with doing something for the poor people in Grenada. Folks, that's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. We'll be back with you with our guests tomorrow. So in whatever you say and do it safe and secure. We want to be speaking to and with you.
And not about you.
Love each and every one of you. Abe!
Abe!
Saturday 8th and Sunday 9 June. It's Whitsuntide Games 2019. Kirani James Athletic Stadium. See participating teams from Trinidad and Tobago, Montserrat, Antigua and Barbuda, Haiti, Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, French Guyana, Guadeloupe, France, and our very own local clubs and schools compete to be Whitsuntide Champion 2019. Game starts at 1 p.m. Admission $20. Saturday 8th and Sunday 9 June. Whitsuntide Games 2019. Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Who will be Whitsuntide Champions 2019?
Public Service Commission removed as party in case against government for salary deduction during industrial action. Details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Monday, June 3rd, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. The matter involving the government of Grenada with respect to the salary deduction of a teacher made during industrial action last year came on for hearing on Monday before the High Court in Grenada. The case was brought by secondary school teacher Donna Marcel Lusan, with the defendants being the Cabinet of Ministers, the Minister for Finance, the Public Service Commission, PSC, and the Attorney General. The Public Service Commission was successful in its application to be removed as a party based on its constitutional duties. On the substantive issue of the salary deduction for days not worked due to strike action, Justice Godfrey Smith encouraged the parties to settle since the claim amounts to about $500. The issue remains whether government has a right to deduct salary for periods not worked during an industrial dispute. The employee or claimant in this case withheld labor and therefore government withheld wages for the same period. The outcome of the case will have significant implications for the wider public service and the constitutional law in Grenada. A date for the hearing of the matter has not yet been set.
The matter came on for hearing this morning before Justice Smith. Now, it is sub judice, so I'm not in a position to go into details with respect to the matter. But what I can indicate is that the Public Service Commission did advance an application this morning to be removed as a party, and it was successful on that application. The substantive issue in the claim continues, and that substantive issue relates to whether or not, if you do not work, if you must not be paid. And that matter will be determined by the court on a date to be set. No date has yet been scheduled for that hearing of the substantive issue.
That's Solicitor General Ms. Dia Forrester. A more competitive environment and consumer empowerment. The expected benefits from Monday's launch of the mobile number portability in Grenada and all ECTEL member states. They have now joined Trinidad and Tobago, the Bahamas, Jamaica and others who have already launched the service. Mobile number portability, or MNP, enables consumers to keep their current mobile telephone numbers when switching from one mobile telephone operator to another. This service removes the inconvenience of phone users having to inform their contacts, family and friends of a new number after changing their mobile service provider. The MNP project began in 2015 with a decision by the ECTEL Council of Ministers to implement local number portability for both fixed and mobile phones. Ms. Kim Frederick, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Infrastructure Development, Public Utilities, Energy, Transport and Implementation, says more choices means more consumer empowerment.
With such developments in the region, it is important that Grenada remains competitive and service providers offer the most advanced telecommunication services at affordable prices to the citizens of Grenada.
Mobile number portability will be available to postpaid and prepaid mobile consumers of all service providers within the ECTEL region as long as the customer's number has not been barred, restricted, suspended, or headsets reported stolen or lost to the current provider. There will be no charges for number porting. All porting or switching charges will be met by the service provider. However, the current provider may charge for the new SIM card and unlocking the customer's handset before the number is ported. Dr. Spencer Thomas, Chairman of the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the NTRC, says there should be no barrier to enjoying the services that are enjoyed globally.
We believe that the launch of number portability in Grenada and across the ECTEL states simultaneously embodies the spirit of the telecommunications treaty and the act that we have, the treaty that we have signed way back in 2000, and the protocol which have recently amended the treaty. So that number portability is in sync with that treaty, and also the regulations that we have, the legislation, the principal legislation, which was the Telecommunications Act, on the new communications legislation that will be on electronic communications. We see the dynamism in the market, and this number portability is just one of several issues that will be in concert with those legislation and movement forward.
Work on fixed number portability will commence later this year when a second fixed line service should become available in each ECTEL member state. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The countdown is on to Grenada's most exciting music festival. Friday, 7th June is Sol EC Limited Rhythm and Soul Night with Kerry Hilson, the legendary Freddie Jackson, Eddie Bullen, and Jefferson Ramirez. Saturday, 8th June is Wester Hall Rum Reggae Fest featuring Busy Signal, Maxi Priest, Kimani Marley, Tamara St. Bernard, and more. The festival climaxes on Sunday, 9th June with a George F. Huggins Soca Fusion featuring the All-Stars with Tennyson John and Blacks. Patrice Roberts, Wasways, Jab King, and more. Gates open 7 p.m., showtime 9 p.m. Advance tickets $80 Friday and Saturday, $60 on Sunday, and are available island-wide. Limited VIP and season tickets at Grenada Optical and GoToFet.com. Grenada Music Festival 2019. Get your tickets today. Sponsors: Silver Sands Grenada, Hennessy, the Antillian Group, Coca-Cola, St. George's University, Glen Elch Springwater, and Netherlands Insurance.
Continuing the news, a call for Grenadians to be responsible when sharing information during the Atlantic hurricane season, which began on Saturday. It comes from Senator Winston Garraway, Minister with responsibility for disaster management and information. Forecasters are predicting 13 named storms, with 5 expected to develop into hurricanes, 2 of which can be major. Senator Garraway warns that information should only be shared from those authorized to do so.
Within the region, there are 4 entities that is responsible for countries within our sphere. So the focal point for Grenada is Trinidad and Tobago. So information would be disseminated from the Hurricane Center and comes down to Trinidad. Trinidad will contextualize whatever information they get for the region, for that space, and it's not only Grenada. So Trinidad, Grenada, you have Guyana and the likes and so forth. So they contextualize the information for that geographic space, and they will then send it out. They send that to us. We now will have to run it through, and I'm saying we, meaning the Met services, would have to run it through their own models for our localized space. When the models have been done, they will then give us accurate information as it pertains to Grenada. So what you see from Trinidad, yes, it's for the entire region, but it's not contextualized to Grenada. Met Office is the one who will do that.
While information will be readily available on the internet, he says NADMA remains the official source of information.
From Trinidad, it goes to the Met contextualizes it, then sends it to NADMA and other media entities. NADMA now will then send out the release. What you get from NADMA will be what Met would have given to us in a contextualized form, and that is the information for Grenada. Any other way will be against the established norms. So I will ask the media entities to follow suit with the information that Met provides. That is Grenada's contextualized information.
Clive Austin, Chief Engineer at Grenlec, had some advice for property owners whom he says need to ensure safety around their homes by trimming overhanging branches, some of which are close to power lines.
Once you're looking at trees over power lines, it's always best to call out so that we could look at it. Cutting trees, pruning trees over power lines, there's always a danger that the branches can fall on the lines, damage the lines, take off electricity, and basically create more problems for us and even the customer in terms of additional outage time. So it's always best to call us. If we think that it is safe for the customer to trim because it's within their property, okay, we will advise them accordingly. But definitely, if it's a case where our lines will be endangered, we will basically take on that responsibility and do the necessary cutting and trimming. In a lot of cases, we probably have to take out power in that area. We might have to drop the lines if we think it's necessary, but we will basically take on that task.
The Grenada Cooperative Nutmeg Association, GCNA, says marketing will be a key strategy to tackle low production and to obtain new markets. Chairman of the board, Leo Cato, says going forward, the association will engage the services of a marketing officer to promote the farmers, their produce, and the industry overall.
A marketing officer is something that we take very seriously because we realize that we have a number of produce. You can see some of them right there. A lot more are done in the shop. And we have not been marketing what we do extensively. So the thinking is to have somebody assigned as a marketing officer so that aggressive action and energy can be put into finding sales for what we produce. And as we pursue the U.S. market marketing would be a key strategy going forward.
Chief Agricultural Officer Daniel Lewis says while marketing is high on the agenda, maintaining quality produce is equally important. He commended the association on the move to employ a quality assurance officer.
With the quality assurance officer on board now, I sincerely hope that a good regime would be put in place right across the value chain to look and see how we could improve the quality. We may not be, and Grenada has always been noted for selling quality nutmegs, we may not be a mega producer, but certainly our quality has to be right up there.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
With the outstanding performances of the nation's swimmers, with over 4 OECS championships to boast, government has made a significant investment to the Grenada Amateur Swimming Association in realizing its dream to construct an aquatic center. Despite the limitations at the Good Hope swimming pool, Grenada continues to turn out medal winners at just about every tournament it enters. The Grenada Amateur Swimming Association GASA has for years made the best use of the facilities to train swimmers, producing national swim team that has won the OECS Swimming Championships on numerous occasions. Now, government through the Ministry of Sports wants to ensure that swimmers have a top-class facility they can call their own. It has vested a portion of lands at Queen's Park to the Grenada Amateur Swimming Association to construct an aquatic center. Now that the property adjacent to the National Stadium has officially been vested in the name of the association, the executive is moving forward with the support of the government of Grenada and the Grenada Olympic Committee and other key stakeholders for the realization of this plan. The establishment of a national aquatic facility in Grenada will serve athletes beyond those directly involved in competitive swimming. The cross-training of athletes to improve their core sport ability is an increasing practice, and the use of swimming for this purpose is one of the key areas.
I'm just happy to say at this stage that GASA has made good progress in terms of advancing the development of an aquatic center. You would be hearing more about this in the upcoming weeks, but we are happy that we can say, with the strong presence of the government representative here today, we have the Minister for Sport with us, accompanied by the parliamentary representative, and they have been working hard behind the scene, and they have ensured jointly that GASA now has a land vested in its hands for the development of an aquatic center.
That's Ms. Perron Johnson, President of the Grenada Amateur Swimming Association. GASA recently engaged a team of key stakeholders, including the Grenada Olympic Committee, ministry officials, and private sector representatives for an initial engagement meeting with a FINA-approved pool design and engineering company. General Secretary of the Grenada Olympic Committee, Vida Bruno Victor, says having the lands means their dream can become reality.
That there is a main thing that we are going to support with, and that is the construction of your new aquatic headquarters. I have taken to our Pan Am Sports Executive Board the plans, and thank God that government had given them the land. Let's commend government. Let's give them a round of applause. Because the first question I was asked is, who does the land belong to? So the fact that the land is theirs, we have sent it off to the Pan Am Executive Board, and they're going to be meeting very soon to hold discussions, and I've spoken with Dr. Maglione, the president of FINA, who is my personal friend, and I hope that he is going to comply nicely with the construction of the aquatic headquarters. Of course, government cannot do a lot of things on their own. Neither can the Olympic Committee. But if we all, neither can Sanders, but if we all work together, we can get things done.
Sports Minister Honorable Nolan Cox reiterated his government's commitment to the development of all sports and pledged his support to further development of swimming.
Every development, every advancement of the swimmers, we must attribute some credit to the persons who spend time day after day teaching them the various skills, the various techniques, not only for them to swim fast, but also for them to swim safe. I think that is something that we need to recognize, and want to thank them for that as well. We want to congratulate all stakeholders, all persons who have contributed to development swimming in Grenada, and to ensure that they continue to do so. Now, when I heard how much figures have been calling out in terms of contribution to swimming, I was like, I didn't think I have any figures to call out in my mind. Then I remember that we gave a valuable piece and asset. We invest that into GASA, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And just say that we are proud as government to be part and to be partner in this process. And I say here unequivocally that any support that GASA requires, we are going to do everything we can to ensure that we meet those requests.
Tobias Clement, Member of Parliament, also spoke of the importance to have an aquatic centre and what it will mean for the further development of the sport.
And today, I can say again that I am proud of swimming in Grenada because of you, the parents, you, the corporate citizen, and let us continue to work together to move from strength to strength so that our swimmers can continue to be recognized throughout the world, and so by doing, also our country and our people.
GASA president says it has been a long road ahead.
Indeed, we are grateful. As you would have heard, the General Secretary of the Olympic Committee announced the progress made in terms of moving forward with the aquatic center. In fact, as she indicated, this is the furthest that we have gotten in terms of moving the process forward. In that, from GASA end, we have obtained a number of designs, proposals, and we have since selected the option that we think is most fitted for the proposed area to be developed. And through the GOC, they have then submitted the said document to a proposed financer, and she had indicated that it is via the Pan Am Sport Organization.
She says now that the lands is officially in their hands, they are looking towards corporate sponsors to realize the completion of the project.
Sanders did indicate that it is a development that they will be very much interested in terms of partnershiping with. We have also gotten some other corporate sponsors indicating their interest. So we are in the process now of actually fine-tuning all of these pledges to ensure that these pledges are actually reality.
What sort of sum are we looking at?
In terms of the actual pool construction only, we are roughly looking at $3 million EC dollars. But however, I'm sorry, I do not have the other supporting infrastructural costs with me at the moment.
I am Sherry Ann Noel, and that's the state of affairs.